Hi guys, this is Breaker, and I am back with another replay that I took from the front page of drop.sc. This one apparently is between our player belonging to the clan Core. His name is FTS in the upper left-hand corner here. FTS. And in the lower right-hand corner, spawning is our blue Zerg I give you all. Spectrum, belonging to xGs. Now the server that this was played on, was the North American server. I can think of a few things that maybe XGS stands for, perhaps maybe Exterior Kings, but I won't give it too much pondering as this was, again, played on the NA server. And obviously, if you live in Australia, I imagine the superior server for you to play on, since the C server is rumored to be somewhat abandoned, if you will, would be the Taiwan and Korea server. I do know of a guy named Blisk who plays basically on the Southeast Asia region only when he has to for tournaments, including the Hong Kong esports qualifier. But basically what he informed me was that he was Grandmasters with about 2,000, or not Grandmasters, Masters with about 2,200 ladder points on the Korea and Taiwan server. But for the time being, it looks like we're gonna have Core going with... Hello, what is this? I just saw him spend 100 minerals on something. What was it? He didn't send out an SCV. Okay, so it looks like he's just gonna be floating a few minerals until he gets his command center down. He probably queued up an extra SCV when he didn't need to, but it's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Anywho, Spectrum is going to go ahead and take the safest possible opener he can, and that is sending out a drone scout while simultaneously doing a double hatch opener. He's going to try and chase down this one SCV and prevent it from throwing down an Expo, but that's not going to happen, as we do see a bit of a workers' riot, and this is just going to leave our Zerg all the more mystified. There we go. He sees it, and now he is thoroughly satisfied with seeing his opponent doing this Expo. Is the drone going to get out of there alive? It looks like it will. Now, I do want to go ahead and confess this much. I am a little bit nervous as this will be basically my last cast from America, to the best of my knowledge. I did a VOD earlier today and I uploaded it to Yoku. That was in Chinese. I'm hoping to expand my Weibo fan base with that. Excuse me. And obviously, well, this is the follow-up of choice from our Terran. It's going to be Barracks with a gas. Maybe we'll see some Hellions out from map control, but optimally versus this kind of an opener, it's best to go with a 4-queen opener. It looks like Spectrum has that intention. He's going to be maybe just a little bit supply blocked once the spawning pool finishes, so he won't be able to get the queen out immediately. And now would be the perfect time to go ahead and pull 2 drones and put them on the natural, but alternatively, keeping them in the main would also not be a bad idea, as eventually you're going to have to throw down this double geysers somewhere. At any rate, we do see them get transferred to the natural. Just some insight from a Zerg player myself. I'm Diamond top 20 on the North American ladder, but you know, it's just not the standard really. And 4 Lings out on the map already because Spectrum wants to feel safe. And the factory going down for FTS already. No reactor yet on that barracks just yet. Instead, there's a bunker going down in forward position, and double meals getting called down at the natural. Because I think the reason why we see FTS doing this is because he doesn't want his main to go dry too terribly soon. At any rate, one thing's got to give, or another's got to give at some point or another throughout the game. And mules, well, they cause the Terran. Sure, they get the Terran economy up faster, but at the same time, they also cause a mineral line to go dry faster. And it looks like, yeah, the opener that I did mention from Spectrum is going down, and now would also be a good time to go ahead and take a third. Just as I see that, he's gonna go ahead, or just as I state that, he goes ahead and opts to put the third at this little difficult to defend position, but of course, I think it's miles ahead of this one, simply given the fact that you've got elevation to deal with. There could be tanks parked up here, or widow mines, or anything else in between. And his creep spread won't be able to get there before the 10-minute mark, I think. And it looks like instead of going for a full-blown 1-1-1 from FTS, instead what we have is an immediate bio transition. He's going to get some Hellions out to maybe control the spread of creep, as of course we will have all the power in the world for our Zerg to do this. But this is something interesting and new. that I think I might take from the replay and analyze later and try on the ladder should this situation arise. He's throwing down a Roach Horn, and that's to deal with Hellions optimally. You can use Zerglings, I guess, but only as long as those Hellions are on creep, so that means your opponent has to make a mistake in order for you to actually go ahead and use the Lings optimally. Back at home, full supply depot wall off, accompanying that bunker that just went down. And a couple of Lings waiting to see when that third, if ever, will go down. It's not even in construction just yet, so this could actually be some kind of a two-base timing attack. It's nothing that I'm quite able to read into completely and fully just yet. We do have Stim on the way. Engineering bays not made just yet, so going into the analysis side of this from a diamond level perspective, I can just see that this is going to contain a lot of Marines and eventually some mines, I'm sure. But Queens meet with the Hellions in combat, and I believe the drone line was relatively unscathed. Well, only one worker to this point. Hard to tell. Actually, that was a worker kill by Spectrum. Ah, yes, that one SCV that went down into the main. And creep spread, tumors, like one is not enough. It's like a bag of potato chips. And now it looks like the roaches are coming out here just to deal with the Hellions, but it's not stopping there. We're already at 6 roaches, which I feel is a little bit heavy for Hellions, so this could lead into a composition that would be Roach, Baneling, Zergling, of course, Speedling, but of course we just now see the speed being researched. I wouldn't say lazy, I wouldn't say bad timing whatsoever, but I would definitely say I would feel more comfortable getting Metabolic Boost before anything else. But Roaches at this stage in the game still a good choice versus Marines and Hellions, and there we are, the mines coming into the mix, but yeah, I can't quite make I can't quite make what's gonna happen just yet. Or I can't just quite make it out. I just can't quite observe what FTS's overall strategy is. Since he's not going for upgrades, this leads me to believe that perhaps our Grandmaster's Terran is off racing. Maybe he's got some ulterior motive behind it, but it's also possible that he could have the intention of pulling SCVs once all of his bio gets halfway across the map. I mean, after all, think about it, we do have a Baneling nest, and if this goes unscouted at the right time, it could be actually quite deadly for Spectrum. Baneling's now morphing, as when that bio moves in on creep, it's going to make it so easy for the Banelings to connect with them, but Stim is already done, so that means we'll see the Marauders, or excuse me, the Marines able to run back as they please. Looks like they just might be able to snipe this hatch. It's a little difficult to say. Yeah, you know what, I think this is going to be forced to cancel. There's no saving it. There it is. It was got the cancel, got the 225 mineral refund, which is only 75% of its total value. And we have to see this engagement be especially careful, because if the Banelings connect with the mines, this is not going to be good. There we go. Marines kind of stimming up. The Roaches absorb the brunt of those mines. Banelings make okay connections, but it's just not good enough, as we do see the Marauders coming in to clean up the mess that is these Roaches. Scan going down on creep even more, trying to cut off our Zerg vision, and creep tumors to this point have been dealt with, but the Roaches acting very good as archers here, while we see the Zerglings get a full-blown surround on almost all the bio here, and with that we see FTS forced to hit the Ignite Afterburners and retreat for the time being. But at this point I must also highlight that his upgrades are very far behind. Our Zerg does have Baneling speed behind all of this, I think, unless he cancelled it. Excuse me, that was the tech button. He does have Baneling speed, so he's actually in a really good position, because when he pushes back, he'll be able to push back off creep when he morphs his Banelings. Fifth and sixth gas not taken just yet, and those Widow Mines have finally been cleaned up, but not before they got another volley off. Sorry about that. That was actually my Facebook fan page. Someone commented, and yeah. Okay, so FTS now coming back for round 2, and there's no Banelings ready to go here. That's actually pretty dangerous. But I want to see if the Zerglings get a full-blown surround here, it could be okay. But even this, it's going to be a little bit tough to crack, as there's no pressure behind it going down at home. Spectrum has a supply lead. Concussive Shells did just finish up, however, and I accidentally misclicked on the +1 attack as it was upgrading. Spinecrawler is now going around at home, getting ready for those static defenses that he will have to have when it comes to dealing with drops. But of course, I want to say that it would also be really optimal for our Terran to drop here because, of course, he doesn't have any Spinecrawlers at that end of the base. And our scanning Terran just now sees this one and only Spinecrawler, and that's it. So he's still kind of relatively blind as to the positioning of his opponent's static defenses, but overall in a good position as we do see his income skyrocketing. Although I do want to highlight that I feel FTS's core strategy here, he's floating so much gas. I don't know what he could be trying to spend this on. But just as that happens, I think we're going to see a huge engagement here. But the Banelings making inadequate connections, the Marines splitting as much as they can, but the Roaches over here are cutting off the reinforcement line, and it looks like now we're going to see Spectrum pushing in for the kill, as he does have his 4th base up and running. If even just as a macro hatchery, it will be able to allow him to just get that extra bit of larva out and get another wave of attack. Behind that, 60 Lings in production, allowing our Zerg to keep the aggression up, and SCV is being pulled off the line for our Terran. It's not going to help his income later on. Widowmine's burrow, another one gets smashed just as it fires off its volley, and it's almost as though we have each of these Marines with a personal healer with the number of medevacs that we have, and it's not about to run out anytime soon. No Banelings behind this, but still 60 Lings that streamed have just popped, and the first of those 60 or so have just arrived outside the 3rd and now the natural. 28 more and 9 Roaches on the way behind that. I don't think we're going to see FTS holding on for too much longer, as we do see the Lings streaming into the base, catching the Marines as they come out of the bunker. The Roaches going to break, or allow the Lings to break their way into the natural, if you will. The 3rd is being pecked away at by 2 Lings, and it looks like we have FTS on relatively just basically borrowed time. I mean, the supply difference is now double, and the SCVs are being pulled from the natural into the main as we see this going into an emergency eco mode. Widowmine's burrowing in the main to help defend as much as possible. Overseers, if they're taken out, it'll help the survivability of the mines, but I don't think it's going to help with the overall game, as we do see structures burning down, no more medevacs coming out, but the ones that are already here, are they going to be adequate enough to help our Terran hold against this? It's the 1-1 Marines versus the 2-2 Lings and +2 Armored Roaches, which will, if not add to the DPS, definitely add to the survivability of these Roaches. And the last few Hero Marines are in production right now, as we do have a supply blocked red Terran by the name of FTS struggling to hold on for dear life, stimming the last of his Marines, and there it is. Whatever reason, we have a Manor Hatch here down by Spectrum, and with that, we see FTS leaving the game without so much as a GG. Now, the pings here lead me to believe, if you just look at the minimap, it leads me to believe that this is an observer game or a custom game or something of that nature, and you know, overall, I wouldn't think that maybe FTS was off racing. Perhaps, just perhaps. Or maybe he was just trying something different. After all, we didn't see him throw down the 5th and 6th gas on the 3rds, and I don't know what to make of this overall. But to stay tuned for more information on the China and Taiwan scene, as well as my own endeavors in the Korean scene, please just go ahead and click on the subscribe button beneath this video, and I will do my best to help keep you guys updated. This is Breaker. I'll see you guys next time.